Sophie Cunningham is officially back with the Indiana Fever, and the way this signing unfolded reveals a lot about how the Fever front office handles business. Fever fans spent all of day one anxiously waiting without hearing a single update about Sophie. Then her Instagram post about betting on herself sent fans into complete panic mode. But what was really happening behind the scenes tells a very different story. The deal had already been finalized. The Fever were simply holding back the announcement while they worked through another important move, trying to determine whether they could also bring in a second enforcer to help protect Caitlin Clark. And the player they ultimately targeted could completely reshape the Fever's front court heading into 2026. Now Sophie Cunningham has finally opened up about her return and the possibility of having another enforcer alongside her, and what she had to say is guaranteed to get fans excited. Are you happy to see Sophie back with the Fever? And who do you think is the second enforcer the team has signed? Let me know in the comments below.
Sophie's that wild card, man.
Sophie's a dog. She's a competitor, but what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her. She's definitely an X factor.
When the first day of free agency arrived on April 11th, Fever fans were glued to their phones, closely following every announcement as it happened. Kelsey Mitchell secured her Supermax deal. Lexi Hull was brought back. Monique Billings signed her contract. Tyasha Harris signed as well. Then, all of a sudden, the update stopped. There was no news about Sophie Cunningham. Fans who had been riding the excitement of a strong playoff run suddenly found themselves with nothing to do except refresh Twitter over and over again and imagine the worst possible scenarios, which is exactly what happened. Then Sophie's Instagram post appeared, and instead of calming everyone down, it only made the situation feel even more concerning.
That's how cussing is for me. But what I'm saying, it's not like I hate the people, it's screw everyone else's voices, opinions, actions. Bet on yourself. Bet on the hard work that you put in and what you're gonna put in. Like, do that and you're gonna be successful. Also, look at my running deal. Stunning!
Sophie posted a message about betting on herself, and that was all it took for the rumors to explode. Within just a few hours, a large part of the fan base had already convinced itself that she was leaving, that she was testing free agency, that she was looking for a bigger contract than Indiana was willing to offer, and that the Cunningham era in Indiana was already coming to an end before the 2026 season had even begun. Fans were practically writing her departure story in real time, and the mood across the community quickly turned into full-blown panic.
I think we have the best fans in the whole W, and I know every team says that, but they're lying. They're feisty, just like me, and so when you get them involved, it's really hard for other teams to come in here and compete.
Sophie's so fun to play with. She has a different energy about her, something you can't teach, something you can't tell people to act like. Being able to play with her, you feed off of that, and I'm very grateful to get to play alongside her.
When I talk about effort, that's Sophie Cunningham. That kind of stuff you can't teach, and I think that's how you win games. And if we can all just do that, we have a good chance to be more like Sophie.
But the reality was that the deal had already been completed before free agency officially began. The Fever and Sophie Cunningham had reached an agreement, and the front office deliberately chose not to announce it right away because they were focused on another important move behind the scenes. Indiana's front office, led by Amber Cox, was not scrambling to figure out Sophie's future. Instead, they were quietly working on a second negotiation at the same time, keeping a close eye on two frontcourt targets and waiting to see how the market developed before making anything public. The two players they were monitoring were Alana Smith and Azura Stevens. Both were free agents, and both offered the type of frontcourt presence that could fit perfectly alongside Aaliyah Boston. Indiana wanted to find out whether they could bring in one of them without creating salary cap problems, so they decided to delay the announcement of Cunningham's return until they had a clearer picture of their options. This was not just casual interest or exploring possibilities. The Fever were genuinely trying to strengthen their frontcourt depth, and they wanted to see if their available money could stretch far enough to make both moves happen.
Now, somebody that a lot of people wanted to be the starting power forward for this Indiana Fever team, myself included, Alana Smith. Alana Smith's going to Dallas. Alana Smith took a 3-year max deal with the Dallas Wings, I believe, $1 million each, $1 million per year. Is it an overpay? Yes. If we're looking at free agency, all of these teams overpaid. They all overpaid. They all drastically overpaid.
In the end, it simply wasn't possible. Alana Smith signed with the Dallas Wings, while Azura Stevens joined the Chicago Sky. Both players secured maximum contracts, and Indiana was not prepared to commit that level of money when the financial situation did not make sense for the team. Once those opportunities were off the table, the Fever quickly moved forward and officially announced Sophie Cunningham's return on April 12. Everything happened fast after the frontcourt market settled because the Cunningham deal had already been finalized and was waiting to be revealed. Looking back at the timeline, the delay was never about a disorganized front office or a team that was caught by surprise. Amber Cox and the Fever were carefully managing multiple possibilities at the same time, staying patient until the market forced a decision and then acting immediately once the path became clear. That is the sign of a front office with a clear plan and a strong understanding of how to navigate free agency, not one that simply reacts to whatever happens to come its way.
Lexi Hull was returning. We already knew Cece was going to be there. The question was, will they be able to get a deal done with Sophie Cunningham? A lot of us hoped we'd get both Lexi and Sophie back, but a lot of us also felt, is that really going to happen? Is somebody going to offer them so much money they can't refuse? A deal so sweet that they couldn't say no? Or will they say, you know what? I like what we're doing over here in Indiana. I'm coming back.
As for Sophie's betting on herself post, she had been very open before free agency about wanting long-term security in her next contract. From her perspective, describing it that way made perfect sense. She genuinely wanted more than a one-year deal, and she was not afraid to say that publicly. Fans interpreted it as a farewell message because they were already worried, and when fans are nervous, they often fill in the blanks with their own assumptions. But Sophie understood exactly where things stood, and the front office knew what the agreement looked like behind the scenes. The only people truly caught off guard were those on social media who had already convinced themselves that she was leaving. The bigger question raised by this signing is not whether Sophie is happy to be back in Indiana. The real question is what she brings to this team that made the Fever so determined to keep her, even if it meant delaying the announcement for an entire day. Sophie's return gives Indiana an important boost in guard depth, bringing back one of the WNBA's most dangerous shooters and one of the league's best momentum-changing players. Because of injuries, she never had the opportunity to fully show what she could do during her first season with the Fever. 2 ankle injuries in May prevented her from getting the start she wanted, but once she got healthy, she developed into arguably one of the best shooters in the league over an extended stretch of games. Her elite three-point shooting is absolutely real, and it is a major reason why she is valuable. However, if you think shooting is the only reason Sophie Cunningham is on this roster, then you are overlooking the role that Caitlin Clark likely values the most. Clark leads one of the fastest-paced offenses in the league. She attracts defenders on nearly every possession, absorbs constant contact, and regularly attacks crowded areas of the court that many guards would rather avoid. That creates a unique challenge for Indiana. When opposing teams decide that the best way to slow Clark down is by playing physically, someone on the Fever has to answer that challenge every single time. If nobody responds, the physical play continues, the pressure increases, and Clark's rhythm can suffer as a result. That is exactly where Sophie Cunningham becomes so important, and the clearest example of her impact came during a game against the Connecticut Sun in June 2025.
Here we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and JC Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabry comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
In that game, JC Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark in the eye, and Marina Mabry later shoved her as tensions continued to rise. Then, later in the same matchup, Cunningham pulled JC Sheldon to the floor during a layup attempt. It was not a random play or an accident. Sheldon had been playing physically against Clark throughout the game, and Cunningham decided to step in. The result was a flagrant foul, and she was eventually ejected, but she never hesitated. She understood exactly what the consequences could be and chose to do it anyway because she wanted to send a clear message. In her eyes, if opponents were going to target Clark with that level of physicality, there would be a response. That is the role Cunningham embraces, and it is one of the biggest reasons why she remains such an important piece of this Fever roster.
Sophie commits a hard foul on JC Sheldon. Again, as JC Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm going to give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this.
This is what truly makes Sophie Cunningham so difficult to replace on Indiana's roster. She is not simply an enforcer who can occasionally space the floor, and she is not just a shooter who sometimes brings a physical edge. She combines both qualities at a high level. Cunningham finished the 2025 season shooting 43% from three-point range, and for a significant stretch, she was among the most effective long-range shooters in the entire league. At the same time, she plays with enough toughness and intensity that opposing coaches have to prepare for both aspects of her game. If a defender leaves her open to help contain Caitlin Clark's drive, Cunningham can make them pay with an open three. If that defender stays glued to her on the perimeter, it creates more room for Clark to attack the basket. There is no easy solution for opposing defenses, and that is exactly why her presence is so valuable. The Fever's official statement after re-signing her highlighted her status as one of the league's top three-point shooters and praised the energy she brings to the team. And while those points are certainly true, the players inside that locker room understand her value on an even deeper level. Clark can play aggressively, push the pace, absorb contact, and continue attacking defenses with confidence because she knows Cunningham is right there beside her, and just as importantly, every opposing team knows it too.
From July 11th through August 15th, Cunningham shot an absolutely scalding 53% from the three-point line. She was the top three-point shooter in the WNBA over that time, with a minimum of 30 attempts. The unfortunate injury bug was the only thing capable of keeping her down in 2025.
Lexi Hull also brings strong perimeter defense and reliable floor spacing, which means Indiana now has two players alongside Caitlin Clark who can knock down shots and are not afraid of physical basketball. That combination creates difficult problems for opposing coaches every time they put together a defensive game plan. Defenders cannot afford to leave either player open, and they also cannot expect to intimidate either of them into backing down when games become more physical. It puts constant pressure on opposing teams and limits the number of effective adjustments they can make. However, Sophie's contract situation naturally raises another question. She was very open about wanting her next deal to provide long-term security, yet she ultimately signed a one-year contract. That leaves many fans wondering whether she is truly satisfied with the outcome or whether Indiana has re-signed a player who may already be thinking about her future beyond the Fever.
Cunningham is well known for her lay-it-on-the-line, fiery style of play. Whether that's knocking down threes on offense, forcing turnovers with her aggressive defense, or not being afraid to have her teammates back, Cunningham brings back an unmistakable relentlessness to the Indiana Fever. She truly is one of one. Welcome back to Indiana, Sophie Cunningham.
The concern is understandable when you consider where Sophie Cunningham is at this stage of her career. She is 28 years old, coming off the best shooting season of her career, and her value around the league continues to rise. A one-year contract does not provide the long-term security she publicly said she was looking for, and that is a reasonable point for fans to bring up. However, Indiana's offer was clearly strong enough for her to accept, and the reasons behind her decision likely go far beyond the number written into the contract. Right now, Indiana is one of the most high-profile markets in women's basketball, largely because of Caitlin Clark's presence. That level of attention creates opportunities away from the court, including endorsements, appearances, brand partnerships, media exposure, and business opportunities throughout the Midwest that few other teams can match. Playing alongside Caitlin Clark in 2026 has a real impact on a player's visibility and public profile, and Cunningham understands that value even if it is not reflected in the length of her contract.
Sophie Cunningham is back, y'all. Y'all see the shooting split? Like, come on, man. Sophie Cunningham is a great addition to this team, and we are so happy to have her back, even if it's just for 1 year. I would have loved to get her back for a couple years, but hey, we'll take what we can get. Maybe they'll re-sign her next offseason, potentially.
This 1-year contract structure is not unique to Sophie Cunningham. It is part of Indiana's broader roster strategy, as seen with Kelsey Mitchell's 1-year Supermax extension as well. The Fever are keeping contracts short to maintain salary cap flexibility, especially with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston potentially becoming eligible for major Epic Max raises under the new CBA. By avoiding long-term commitments now, Indiana is preserving room for 2027, when Clark, Boston, and Mitchell could all command maximum-level contracts. In short, the Fever's priority is keeping their future options open while planning for a much more expensive core.
A lot of people are feeling a way toward Kelsey Mitchell because Kelsey Mitchell took every single dollar. Okay, take a look at this here. Kelsey Plum signed a one-year $1 million deal to return to the Los Angeles Sparks. Plum was in line for $1.4 million, but opted to sign at a discounted rate to give LA financial flexibility to build a title contender. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, man, this is what we was saying Kelsey would have done if she was serious about trying to win.
Lexi Hull's multi-year extension is the main exception to Indiana's short contract strategy. Because Hull is young and on a team-friendly deal, her contract is not expected to create salary cap issues when Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston become eligible for larger contracts. Unlike higher-paid veterans, Hull's extension fits comfortably into the Fever's long-term plans. For most other players, however, Indiana appears to prefer shorter deals to maintain maximum financial flexibility for the future.
Tell a friend to tell a friend, she's back!
Cunningham is not being pushed aside or undervalued. The Fever simply want her to run it back for one more season while keeping future salary cap flexibility intact. Her positive reaction to the deal, including her "let's get spicy" message, suggests she believes in the team's direction. For now, Indiana's backcourt appears set, with Clark, Mitchell, Hull, Cunningham, and Harris providing impressive depth, shooting, and defense. While the guard rotation looks strong, questions remain about the team's front court moving forward.
I still think we need a starting power forward. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Monique Billings off the bench, Ty Harris off the bench, AB at the 5. Let's see if the Indiana Fever are done or if they're going to continue to make more moves.
Aaliyah Boston has the talent to anchor a championship team, but Indiana still needs stronger frontcourt depth around her. Injuries have hurt the Fever's frontcourt in recent seasons, and while Damaris Dantas adds veteran experience, she does not fully address the team's size and physicality concerns. With an estimated $1 to $1.5 million available for 2 roster spots, Indiana has room to improve. Players like Rebecca Allen, Temi Fagbenel, or Brianna Turner could provide valuable help in the frontcourt while allowing the Fever to maintain long-term salary cap flexibility.
Boy, we got things to get into, as it appears the Indiana Fever may be making a move for another power forward. We have been waiting to see what's going to be the next domino to fall for the Indiana Fever, and this was just posted. Take a look. We have it right there. Do you know who that is? That is Maisha Hines Allen. She played with the Lynx before. She played with the Dallas Wings, and she may be the next domino to fall, as she posted this, where she basically scratched out the Dallas Wings logo, and she used the Indiana Fever colors, you guys.
The player generating the most buzz and Fever rumors is Maisha Hines Allen. Unlike other potential targets, she brings a physical, hard-nosed style that could be a perfect fit alongside Aaliyah Boston. Hines Allen fights for rebounds, plays through contact, and impacts games without needing the offense to run through her. While she can shoot from outside, Her biggest strength is the toughness and interior presence she adds on both ends of the floor. That combination makes her an attractive option as Indiana looks to strengthen its front court while maintaining roster balance.
One thing Myisha Hines-Allen does, she brings toughness. It ain't gonna be no punking her. It ain't gonna be no bullying her. We need more goon. We need a goon squad, okay? We already know a hit was sent out on Caitlin Clark. She was the most targeted player in the WNBA for the last 2 years.
If Myisha Hines-Allen joins Indiana, the Fever would add another physical presence alongside Sophie Cunningham. Cunningham would continue bringing toughness to the backcourt, while Hines-Allen would strengthen the front court and provide additional support for Aaliyah Boston. That added physicality could help Indiana better match up with teams like the New York Liberty and Dallas Wings, both of whom have strong, talented front courts. The Fever chose not to spend heavily on players such as Alana Smith or Azura Stevens, making it important that their remaining cap space is used wisely. Hines-Allen is viewed as an attractive option because she could help address one of Indiana's biggest roster needs without sacrificing future flexibility.
Is an excellent move for the Indiana Fever. She's a role player. She knows how to fit into her role. She's fine starting. She can come off the bench. Whatever you need, Myisha Hines-Allen will be able to provide it. She's not a black hole like Natasha Howard.
Sophie Cunningham's comments after re-signing show she is fully committed to Indiana's future. Her excitement about another special season and her "let's get spicy" message suggests she feels valued and believes in what the Fever are building. With Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, Monique Billings, and Tyasha Harris already under contract, Indiana's guard rotation looks strong and well-balanced. The team's biggest remaining need is still frontcourt depth, which is why Myisha Hines-Allen continues to be a popular name in Fever rumors. Her toughness, rebounding, and physical presence could be the final piece that helps complete the roster. What do you think? Are you excited to see Sophie Cunningham back with the Fever, and who would you like Indiana to add next? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates.